Hello, students, and anyone else who may be watching from home. This is Mr. Borges, and today we're going to be talking about our next part in Minecraft. We have a new button here for part 17, our comparator world. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And just like as always, we have an assignment checklist here. So I'm going to go ahead and start downloading our part 17 world, comparator world. And while it's downloading, this gas gauge right here, this is an image, an animated image that's showing what is inside cars on the dash on the instrument panel for the driver, so that they can see how much fuel they have in the gas tank. Right, F for full and E for empty, and there's a sensor inside there. It measures how much stuff is in the gas tank and tells you. That's a lot like what a comparator does, and so we're going to talk about that today. So here's the video you're watching right now, or it will be as soon as I'm done making it. You'll have example photos right here that you can look at to base on your portfolio. Once I take them, I'll be doing that also in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this part 17 world down here. And that's going to launch our part 17 world here in Minecraft. So get yourself logged in if you're not logged in already. And then here we are in our Minecraft world, part 17. All right, so you're going to build a copy of each one of these things over here that each uses comparators to check how much of something you got. And you're going to take a photo of each thing you build with captions, of course, and then export your portfolio and submit it to Canvas, right? So you're going to build your own thing, right? So over there are some examples of things that I built. You're going to build your own thing. So I'm going to start simple over here. Here is an item frame. It's connected to just some block, and the comparator can read the signal through the block. So this in Minecraft, this functions as a dial. The comparator can tell what position the item is in the item frame. So if you right-click on item in an item frame, if you right-click on it, it turns the item. But what I want you to see is that it works just like a dial, right? It works just like a dial. So you can see I have 8 lights lit now. If I click this one more time, I guess the first position, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and 8. Kind of like a clock or something, right? So you can use this. You can use this as a dial. I could put other things on here. It doesn't have to be an arrow, but I could put other items on this item frame. But right, I can use this then to control something else. And some people use knobs like this to control secret entrances in their bases or lights in their bases or things like that. So that's a handy thing to do. You can also use that for controlling machines and stuff like that. So here we are, dispenser. Now what this is here, I have a dispenser over here. It's full of arrows, so almost full, pretty much full, right? You can see that it's not 100% full. It would actually be lit up if it was 100% full. So what I'm going to do, what this stuff over here is, this is a clock. This is one more clock that I didn't get to show you in Clock World. So I just wanted to show it. This is an observer right here. Right, that's facing towards me right now. You can see there's a little red light in the back. And here's another observer. It's also facing towards me. And here's just a piston. So it's a sticky piston. So if I flick this piston, what's going to happen is it's going to push this observer out. This observer is going to see this observer, and then it's going to send a signal. But this observer is going to detect that signal and then send a signal. But then this observer is going to detect that signal and then send a signal. And it just goes back and forth like that. It's a really reliable clock. And the red signal that comes out of this one, once it's pushed over here, is going to trigger this dispenser. So it's going to spam arrows all over that high. I made an extra high fence right there. So it's going to start spamming arrows out all over the place. I'm just going to go ahead and show that. So piston pushes the observer. Those 2 observers are now in a clock. They're just spamming. You can see the lights shooting on here. Same for the other side. It's just spamming this dispenser like crazy. It's shooting arrows everywhere. And you can see, right, these lights are going to slowly, as the dispenser eventually becomes empty, it does take a while, these lights are going to, less and less of them are going to be lit up. And the reason why is because the comparator is measuring how much stuff is in this dispenser. And as there's less and less stuff, the signal coming from here is getting weaker and weaker. And as it gets weaker and weaker, it can power less and less of these lights. So that's the big idea. So you're going to build something like that. You don't have to use the observer clock. You can use some other type of clock to power your dispenser. We've learned about different kinds of clocks. Okay, composter. I accidentally picked up a ton of arrows. Look how many arrows are over here. All right, I'll just pick them all up. Okay, So here we have a composter, and or composter, as they actually call it in the UK. This always sounds weird to me. But anyway, this composter has a comparator measuring how much stuff is in it. Right now, there's nothing getting composted in here, and so there's no signal. Right? And I happen to know that, well, look at all this junk that I have. I happen to know that composting pumpkin pie gives one level to the comparator. So I'm going to compost a pumpkin pie, and you can see I have one light now. The comparator's measuring that. Another one, another one, another one, another one, another one, another one. Right? And then if I put in one more, it pops off as a bone meal, and then all the lights turned off. So that's the big idea. That's how this works. So we can use comparators to measure how much stuff is in a composter. And you might wonder how useful that really is. Well, one of the ways they use this is sometimes they just want a specific strength of a redstone signal. Sometimes they want a signal strength of 3 for something else they're going to be doing in Minecraft. And so you can do is you can then throw 1, 2, 3, and I have right here, I have a signal strength of 3 that I could use to do something else if that's what I need to do with it. Or you could set up something where this composter gets fed by a hopper. And then as long as there's something in there, don't do anything, 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 right? But maybe then now that there's nothing, there's no signal, you could convert that to an inverter, a NOT gate, that would then power a Minecraft cart to come by and pick up that one bone meal that had been produced, for example. I mean, there's lots of different things you might be able to use with these. Cauldron works just like a comparator, except there's only 3 steps for it instead of the 8 steps for the other thing. And this one works by water. And interestingly enough, you might someday find some use for this, because if a cauldron is outside when it's raining, it'll start to fill up with water. If you put a little bit of water inside a cauldron, the comparator can detect that. Right? You can see I have a weak signal there. So I can fill it up with 2 bottles and then 3 bottles of water, and that's as full as they can be. So that's the big idea about cauldrons. And then what I have over here I have a chest that's totally full of stuff. I put stacked items in here on purpose so that this level is going to go down way faster than it did with the arrows, because they were coming out one at a time. And what I have here is I have a hopper. It's pointing into another chest. And I have a lever, and this lever is powering this hopper. And that's why the hopper is locked. That's why no items are flowing into this chest right now. I have a comparator that's measuring how many items are in this hopper, and there's a full strong signal right there. But if I flip this lever, I'll stop powering the hopper. Items will start flowing from this chest through the hopper into this chest. This chest becomes less full. The comparator gets a weaker signal out here, and these lights will start turning off. And that happens relatively quickly, and I want to be able to go ahead and show you that. So I'm going to turn off the light. All right, so lava bucket, lava bucket, lava bucket. They're dumping out of the chest that's up there. It's going down and down and down. As you can see, there's only a couple that are left, and then they're gone. So that way you can see how you can use a comparator to measure how much stuff is in a chest. And I built a little trap over here based on that also. So the last thing I want to show you over here, which kind of belongs in comparator world and kind of belongs in repeater world, is this thing called a pulse extender. Now the idea behind pulse extender is, if I just, instead of using a pulse extender, I'm just going to power this lamp. Normally, if I click the button, 1,000, 1,000. It's about how long of a pulse I get out of a regular button. But with a pulse extender, what's going to happen is I'm sending a signal through this comparator, and this comparator is detecting this comparator, and then it's sending a signal back around this way. And what it does is it creates a sort of a loop that slowly dies out. It takes longer to die out than the signal from the button usually does. Now, and I boost that with a repeater, so as long as there's a weak signal dying out here, I still get a strong signal powering the lamp. until it dies completely. I can show you how that works by clicking this. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Right? And I can control this. If I want this to be longer, if I want this pulse from my pulse extender to be longer, I could just add another comparator there, another comparator there, another dust here, and now I can run it again. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. Oh, it's about a second longer. And I can keep running that way too. If I need a longer pulse, I can do that kind of thing. So sometimes in Minecraft, you want to be able to push a button or activate a pressure plate and power something for a longer time than that power source would normally power it. The button only powers things for like a second by itself normally, but you can use things like a pulse extender to extend the pulse. So that's pulse extender. So go ahead then and please build one of each of these things over here in this stone area, and then take pictures of them and then give them better captions. And then I want to show you, then you're going to build your own thing somewhere. So I want to show you two things that I built. So one that I built over here, and this is just a simple little thing. This is supposed to look like a little sink with a cauldron here and a barrel. Like maybe this is inside somebody's base or whatever else, right? This is a hidden trapdoor. And to get this to work, what you can do is, I just happen to have saved some, gosh, I have so much junk, some stuff right here. So if I dump some water into this cauldron, you can see over here, this secret trapdoor just opens up. And if I take the water back out, I can close that back up. So when I put the water in, what's happening is through this block, comparators can measure through a block. Through the block, it's measuring the signal from the cauldron. Now when I'm boosting that signal so that it's stronger, because it's very weak, right? It's only going to go a few blocks. So what I do is I'm boosting that signal to make sure it goes where I want it to go. But right now I'm powering this piston already so that the sticky piston is pushing this block out. So I want to put water in here to turn this off. And so, right, I don't want to put water in here to turn this on. So that's the opposite. And I'm having opposite here. I've got a little knot gate with my redstone torch. So putting water in there, putting water in here is going to, right, the comparator reads the signal, and then it's going to send a signal out here, and this turns off my knot gate. Then the piston retracts, and now the secret entrance is revealed. So that's an example of something you can build with a comparator. Over here, here's another example of something you can build. This is just a silly example of a chest trap, but I could have been way more sneaky, hidden this stuff with walls and made this explosives come right back down underneath the chest. So, right, so say there's somebody that's griefing in your world or whatever else, right? I stuck all my diamonds in here, knowing that if somebody grabs those, they're going to die. Right, so the comparator is reading the signal, and as long as there's diamonds in here, there's a signal here, and there's a signal here, and as long as there's a signal here, this signal is inverted, so now it's off, and then this off signal is not powering the TNT. But as soon as somebody takes these diamonds out of here, and there's no signal here anymore, this is going to be off. The inverter is going to turn this to the opposite, it will be on. That will power the TNT. So what's going to happen is, so somebody gets into your stuff, they right-click on here, right? The right click. Oh, half my inventory is full. My goodness. So ridiculous. Okay. So somebody gets in here and they take your stuff. As soon as you do see that lamp turned on? It also powered the TNT. So while they're in your chest, kablooey, right? So I could have built that TNT trap right up underneath here to get that griefer who's been stealing my stuff, right? I wouldn't have to use that many diamonds to bait the trap or anything. Sure, one would have been probably plenty, and it would have been worth it to get that griefer. All right. Anyway, so what I want you to do is build your own comparator powered contraption, some kind of a thing that uses comparators to go. And if you want to, if you're not having any of your own ideas, you can build something similar to this trapdoor idea, this hidden door idea, or you could build something similar to this trap idea. Or you can build your own thing that uses one of these other ideas. All right, folks. So that's it for this one. Make sure you take pictures of everything, get good captions, and then export those portfolios and turn them into Canvas. All right. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.